Dr. Sucheta Bhide Chapekar, as we all know, is a scholar, researcher, and a guru. But first of all, she is a very, very fine performer, and I'm sure she has a lot to say about her performing career. Let us hear it from her. Could you share with us your experiences abroad? Because you have toured extensively in foreign countries. So I'm sure you have a lot to say about
almost all the continent.
Wow.
Except Far East, I haven't been much,
Yes.
but Australia, New Zealand, Europe, of course,
so many
times.
places.
America,
Because
not
it's
much,
altogether
twice.
a different thing
Yeah,
to go in
Brazil.
a foreign country. And
Yes. No, more than that, I have this, I would say, heart-to-heart contact with France and French girls. Uh, my first trip abroad, that's a
you would love to know about it.
great experience. And I don't know how I got these opportunities. They came along. There was some foreign guests, and in that Babulnath temple only, Masterji had asked me to do some demonstration. And there was one Mr. Patel of Patel Volkats, was a great travel agency in Mumbai. So he liked my performance so much. He told my father, "Can you see me tomorrow in my office?" He was the travel agent for SS France. It was a world cruise, SS France. If you go to Google, you will see a lot of information about this ship. They had this scheme that every port, it went, Bombay being a big port, it would touch Bombay. They would take artists from that place and leave them at the next place, give them air ticket back. So that was the scheme. So I didn't know what was SS France. So father said, good opportunity, but she is young. I was just 17, not 17, 18. I was 20, I think, 20, 20.
Little older.
He said, I will come, I can't get later go alone. So he said, okay, you can come. But I said, no, but what about my musician? See, that cruise luxury liner, the ticket must have been
Exorbitant prices.
thousands of dollars. Most of the people, after they earned the whole lifetime, they were all people who had resigned from their jobs and seniors. So ship had 1,000 passengers and 1,000 crew. It had theatre of 250 people. 2 tennis courts, 2 swimming pools. So finally it was agreed that I would take 3 musicians.
3 musicians.
Nana Kasar, Padma and Santanam came.
So that was the mridangist, the natavanar and the vocalist. Okay.
There was no this thing. And my father.
Yes.
And from Gateway of India, we were put in a launch, and the ship was far away. It can't enter. It is such a huge ship. But because it's a container port, Mumbai being, it had arrived. So I was thinking, well, there is 250 people theatre, so I would be asked to dance. I will be dancing there. And it was a passage from Mumbai to Mombasa. So we go there, and everybody speaking French. The captain came, welcomed us, and then they showed me there was a bar, like people come and drink there, and there was a small stage there. So he said, "You dance." Done there. So I started crying. I said, I'll jump in the sea. I know swimming. I'll go back to home. I won't dance. So my father said, be quiet. Let me see. So finally he said, no drinks. See, our dance is different. You have to agree to these conditions. So no drinks, serving drinks or drinking. And the chairs will, not tables and chairs will be arranged. So he said, look baby, now this is, you dance. I must have done my traditional items because that time all these South Indian orchestra. Next to my father's was sitting one lady who had tears in her eyes. So my father asked her, what made you cry? What is it? So she said, I am a cabaret dancer. Every day we perform here. We sell our bodies. Your daughter bought my soul. So my father told me and I said, okay. Because see, my Parvati Kumar's teaching and all that, I couldn't have danced in the past.
Absolutely.
Never. Absolutely. Then the captain was so happy, he opened champagne, which I don't drink, I have not drunk at all, but he made me one sip, yes, for you. So all then next 3 days it was in that auditorium, 250 people.
What a memory. Great.
But that was supposed to be a film, also film theatre. So the stage was. What I done. Then in Mombasa, father found out some contacts. He said, all the way we are going and we've got Air India ticket back, you should perform there also. So there was one of his contacts, one Shah. There are a lot of Gujaratis. For generations they have settled there. So he is actually a businessman. But he said, okay, I do one or two programs. And that one program also, there was something else. I did my bit and
Just
ran
finished.
away. But his daughter, Bijol, she got so enamored. She had just passed her Cambridge and she said, I want to learn from Thai. I want to. She came after me to Pune. That time we didn't have this house. There was a very small house there. I said, I can't house you. She found some hostel here and she stayed for 2-3 years, learned from me. And for her Rangetram, we again went.
Oh.
That this time it was not only in Mombasa, like she would do her bit. She was a good dancer, did it well. She became so accustomed, of course basically Indian, but her mother had given her proper, like now generations, they are born, brought up there, learned in a Cambridge school, but she had no further interest for further education also. Dance, and she saw and she just went. Bijol.
So you performed the Arangetam there?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we went there. So that time, Nakuru, Kisumu, all there is Lake Victoria, which is the largest saltwater lake in the world. So it's like ocean. There are hippos and Africa trip was, and I still remember the giraffes like ballerinas on the sky. You will see them. It was a great experience. So I tell
So how
anybody,
did the audience take it?
they everywhere they had little idea. Of course, I would explain. Musicians were there. So and Bijol, their own girl, was also
So that must be
there.
another.
So of course, lot of Gujaratis and Indians. Quite a few Indians are there in East Africa, and very good. Nairobi is such a beautiful city. Lovely. So I've been to so many cities, but
Yes.
there are, bogan villas everywhere. The street, all colors, it's riot of colors, all the time festival in Nairobi.
So like Nairobi, you have been to many other beautiful cities like Paris and London
Yes.
and
Then
even in the USA.
next opportunity came for foreign country. I was then dancing a lot in NCPA. NCPA, first it was in Bulabai Memorial Institute on Bulabai Desai Road. And there was only a small auditorium. So any dignitary coming, anybody coming, Dr. Menon would call. Sucheta, half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour
would dance.
performances I would do. So for one, I think there was some German ambassador, somebody, very few people, and J.R.D. Tata was there. This was also in a small auditorium. I mean, so many times I was doing. Once I think J.J. Baba asked Dr. Men, is there no other Bharatanatyam dancer in Mumbai? Dr. Menon, I suppose so. Actually, very few, there weren't of that cadre, caliber. Hardly anybody. Sudha Doraswamy of Rajarappa, but once she migrated to US, and Vaijayanti wasn't dancing then,
Yes.
and Yamini, of course, but was in Delhi, so for
So in Mumbai, there was
generally
hardly
for
anyone.
these programs I was called. So JRD was so happy and his German gentleman was there and his wife and very few people. So this person asked me, have you ever been to Germany? I said, no. So JRD says, no? Okay, I am giving you passages, you plan a tour. And remember, so my father was there, he listened. After that there was Air India House, and by the time, because my father hardly had, one of his very close friend was that time in Paris, who knew Mr. Mahesh, who was one impresario, and
Okay.
Mandapa was already there, Madame Salvini, so he organized something there, and in Holland and in Germany, in Munich, and something, but those years even communication was not like he had to do some fax or letter would take so much time, phones wouldn't work. So it took us, my father, long time to organize something. And then musicians and myself,
Another-
6 people, 4 musicians. So finally everything got, and then JRD wasn't there at that time. But somehow my father had courage to go to the Air India office, and I don't remember, he was JRD's assistant director for a long time, Parsi gentleman, I clearly don't remember. But when my father told him, he said, yes, JRD has told us. How many passages? 6 passages I got. JRD had said, anywhere in the world, we could organize these 3-4 places, and 6 of us went. See, now this is something my daughter will say, oh, you are lucky. I don't know, but I feel good because always my performance, I won this advantage.
Yes.
Everybody was surprised, and we had, so that was my first trip to Europe.
Europe, okay.
France, Paris, of course, father's friend was there, but Mandapa, she organized our stay there. And with me, Padma Raghavan was there, VP Ramdas was there, and Krishnan, who was a great flutist, Shankaran from Chennai. On flute, like violin, he would accompany so beautiful. He was a great flutist. I think none of them are there now. And for Natvangam, there was one Mahalingam master in Mumbai who would, by then I had started, because I was, every week I would travel to Mumbai, though I was settled in Pune at that time after marriage. So one day, Smita and Mahalingam sir would get the class organized.
Help you with the classes.
One day I would take the class. So finally he knew, and he was a very gullible, simple man. So I said, chalo, tum Natvangam kar. So he was there for Natvangam. So I think first time I went, I also danced in Muzigime. Now Muzigime has become a big
name. Yes.
We had a performance in Rotterdam, and it was so cold. And my Padma Raghavan, my God, she caught cold. One program, I think Nikhil Banerjee, sitar and my dance in a big hall, it was very successful first day. Then she got cold and her voice, that program only I could see toward the last end, her voice was really going. Oops. Somehow she managed, and then voice was gone. Second program was the next day. But fortunately there was one doctor in the audience, and he could feel that something was going. After the program, he came and met us, and he said, I will check, I will see. But he said, no, for 7 days at least, she can't open her voice. My God, no. Of course, Shankar was there, Shankaran was there, Ramprasad.
no singer.
But Malingam was little bit of a singer. You know, he could do it, lagav his voice. So that whole night and day, Malingam, what all you know, let me do that. So we, total program we changed, and we said, oh Mali, so good. Shankaran gave him lot of boost, and he was like, okay. So next day program, probably I also had that in mind that there is some disadvantage today, so I also probably put lot of my that sitar is that later on he says, now after your dance, what you want me to? I said, nahi, aap to bade log hai, aap bajayenge. But that program was really hit. So such experiences.
Now that we are on the topic of performances, we would like to know, how do you really plan your performance, the repertoire for that particular performance? I mean, what criteria
I
do
think
you
that
apply?
is very important.
It's very important.
I mean, right from Natya Shastra, Bharata talks of vritti and pravritti. So, vritti is every audience has a vritti,
Yes.
has a pravritti.
Pravritti.
Accordingly, I mean, like if I'm going to Kolhapur, they would look more to Miraj or Natya Geet, or, you know, they have that kind of
They are used to that kind of
influence, and so what I will perform will change. If I go to Chennai, I will select my rare of Tamil Telugu compositions and I dance them. So that is very important, but for that you need to have a very large repertoire. Maybe sometimes the occasion demands why you are doing. Is it somebody's birthday or is it something?
Yes.
What is it? So that is also important. If you include, I also remember performances. I think he was director of some company and they were celebrating his 60th and wanted a performance. So I took the shlokas on 60th, what the Guruji, I went to our Guruji and asked him what they chant, and we composed that. So he felt very good, you see. So that is important. Sometimes last minute, like I remember, I think it was in France. It was little offbeat place, I don't remember, little close to Armel's place, and she had organized that. There were 3 items and I was in the middle. So initially I didn't know what it was, what it is. When we go there, I get ready and I realized the first bit was hip hop. Then mine, and then I think Kumudini Lakia's group, some ballet was there, dance drama was there. So my girl comes crying, Sucheta, I don't know, I should have put you here. I said, wait, we'll see what to do. Now this vritti and pravritti, but also the psychology of the audience. So with hip hop, everybody was, and all, all that. So I asked Armel, she nicely wears sari and she has long hair. And I gave her a lamp in her hand, lighted lamp. I said, just put Tanpura. So I had, that time I had gone on recording, automatic Tanpura started playing. So after quarter of a minute only, that quiet. Then across, she walks across the stage, put the lamp, do namaste. And so then everybody was like, now what is that? Then of course I did with a nritya item, not exactly starting like normal, and then some abhinaya pieces. And next day in papers, my big photography popped out.
Great. Because selection is very important.
So such experiences give you that faith that yes, like you know, you perform classical, but for that whatever you need to, like I have done first time when I went to States, I was staying with a American. Actually, there are lots of relatives, friends in New York, around the places. But then I said I would like to stay with the American family, how they live. So there was, I had made one contact. So I stayed with them. It was little away from New York, Briarcliff. And she was so much, she had a lot of interest in Indology, and her husband is a manager of Bronx National Park. So they had a lot of interest in, they would come here to learn Ayurveda, Panchakarma. So it was the first time when I went, it was organized, lot of programs in schools and colleges. So there also organizer was worried whether he was just standing there when these children are, they will shout, they will do something. But I have seen if you have faith in what you do, that will change. Nothing unorderly happened. They sat, they watched, in the end of course they that they do which we will not do for classical.
It is natural for them.
That was there. So Melanie, this lady said, see, in our area, I don't think anybody has seen this kind of dance. Shall I organize your program? I said, yes. But so they had a community hall. Her son became the lightman from the house, whatever lights, spotlight, this, that. It was a big wooden, lovely house. She took all that. There was a guest in her house. She made her sit outside for ticket. And her daughter and me, because Paul was there, we organized those leaves and we made it look
makeshift auditorium.
And the performance was, I enjoyed, everybody enjoyed. And she, in the end, that year my daughter was to get married. So she puts $500 in a packet, and this is for your daughter's wedding. So I mean, I never, it never entered my mind. So my fees are this and that. And no, I mean, people of that area, some 50, 35 people came, and there it's a culture, they would buy ticket. It is not that everything is focused.
Right.
So she said, first I felt like, no, it's okay. Actually, I also remember one instance. Performance was in Italy, in Milano. I have a disciple friend there who this year also, last year also, I went to Florence. She had organized in the university. She is a Sanskritist, actually. She has translated. She was working in Bori, Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, and used to come to me. So she had with Air India and Milano municipality had organized a big concert. And I went with my Nritya Ganga musician. Myself and my husband, we had gone early to see the things and the theatre and also meet her family. Two of my musicians arrived in time, 2 days before. Madhubao for Sarangi and Meenal was there. So both of them came in time 2 days before. But they said Ghorpadkar was to play Pakhavas. he had no passport or something. His passport couldn't come in time, and he couldn't make it.
Ooh.
He can't make it for the next 10 days. Now, what to do? Where to get Pakavas play? I had no recordings at that time. I was to do with live musicians. So, but that disciple of mine, Fabrizia, she is so enthused. She called the whole of Italy, Rome, this, that. Is there a Pakavas play? So, as my luck was, there was one young player who was trained in Varanasi in Pakavas. And at that time, he was from a different place, from Rome, I think, but he was at that time in Milano.
Oh.
So,
Luckily.
so he was so happy. I said, okay, player, but instruments, what to do, the pitch. But in 2 hours, on a sling, 3 pakavas in proper condition, he was there.
Oh.
That was great. And so 2 days we rehearsed, and but then I realized now who will say the pada, who will do the pada, because Gurpadkar or these people, they
He used to do padan.
himself. Yeah, these boys said, no Mario, no, I can't, I will play. Now what to do? So first time I put the cordless mic here, and I myself said the prastar and danced, and people thought it was new experiment. I got.
That must be a unique performing
Yes,
experience.
yes. Like
Great.
this last minute things, sometimes I remember once in NCPA, the small chip of they had perfect wooden stage, and in the end the small chip went into my foot, and there was flow of blood, which of course initially when you have lot of blood you don't realize, and it was
You danced with that.
it was almost end fortunately of the purpose. So I concluded, and the blood and I went inside. Mr. Baba was so angry, and he came, what is this, if something happens to her? And I said, okay, this is an accident, but fortunately it was end of the program and I could continue and do for 2 minutes and exit. But I remember one thing, whatever, sometimes in worse mental conditions also, but once I go on stage,
You forget
yes,
everything else.
Yes, I think that's gift of the art.
Yes.
I'm happy
That's
for
the
it.
real artist in you. And you have such a huge store of experiences. And we are really, really fortunate to, go down with you, with your memory lane and learning about your upbringing, your experiences with the stalwart gurus and your performances and so much. And I'm sure there is so much more for us to know, because we still haven't talked about your choreographies, your teaching part of it and so much more. So viewers, I would request you to please be with us in the next episode, where we would talk to Sucheta Thai about so many other things. Thank you so much.
Hare